Welcome to Wisdom of the Way with me, Sai, a podcast to inspire, enliven, and explore Camino wisdom and life wisdom. Join me from my home on the transformative Camino de Santiago in Spain as we share stories and learnings with incredible pilgrims and teachers from all over the world. Hola from the Camino de Santiago. I'm very excited to be sharing this conversation that I had with Margaret, and it's a conversation that's alive, that's really full of sincerity and deep feeling and gratitude for life. And I guess that's what happens when someone comes close to death or has an accident and really realizes this gift that it is to live and to seize the moment. And that's exactly what Margaret was doing and how she came to be in the Camino in a very quick succession of events, relatively, given that she experienced a very serious damage to her body, and it was quite remarkable that she could even physically undertake this journey. And just a blessing, and her way of coming to the world and coming to life really transmits a beautiful energy and inspiration, and I think you'll find it a great exploration, and as it opens not only our mind but our hearts and our spirit to the possibility of dreaming, following dreams, seizing the moment, and with a zest for life, with love and with joy. So enjoy this conversation. I hope you do as much as I did.
So I'm Margaret Frondorf, and I'm from the U.S., and I like to say I'm from the East Coast. I kind of traveled between Washington, D.C. and Boston or Cape Cod, and I'm over 50, for anyone listening out there. And actually what I was doing before the Camino was I was recovering from a serious accident that I was in, being hit by a car. I was in this sleepy little town, and I woke up in an ambulance, and I broke my back, and I tore severed tendons and tore others, and had double vision for a while, and I recovered beautifully. And then I just had time, and I said, I'm going to walk this Camino. I promised myself a decade ago that I would do it, and life presented itself in this way, so here I am. Yeah.
So Margaret, we are really blessed to be here with you today.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome.
Really blessed. Amazing. How long ago was that accident, to give us some idea?
So it was
are we talking months, years?
We're talking January of 2022.
Okay.
And so it was just this year.
Yeah, less than 6 months ago.
Absolutely.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the preparation in coming to the Camino, and why having this journey and this intention has been so important for you.
I had very little prep. Though this has been on my bucket list for 10 years, it was only on May 5th, believe it or not, that I just simply said, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I bought a ticket on May 5th, and I was here on the 27th, walking from Saint-Jean over the Pyrenees. No prep. I brought the wrong backpack. I didn't necessarily have the right clothing. I just knew I wanted to be here. So what was the inspiration? Truly, there were actually a couple of inspirations. One, my children walked this 10 years ago, and they have told me, Mom, you need to do this for yourself. And I kept putting it off, and, I had my life in Washington and my work, and, when is there going to be time? But time, as I said earlier, just presented itself because of this accident, and I just said, I'm going. So my kids were partly the inspiration, and that's enough. They were the inspiration. Let's say it that way.
I'm sure that having kids and being alive and being close to death is more than enough inspiration to
it could have been worse.
Oh, wow.
It could have been worse.
Of course.
So, but I'm not a complainer.
Yeah.
I'm just on the road to healing and enjoying and being and breathing. And I happened upon this place. And I'm talking with you now.
Here we are, and that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So, I think it's easy to spend a lot of time preparing for the Camino. Many people do, and that's wonderful. Some are practical things, some are spiritual preparations, some are other emotional preparations. Just on the physical and the logistical, do you see that as something that's really important to turning up to the Camino?
I don't. I collected whatever I had in my closet and maybe purchased a few things that I thought would be relevant. But half of what you think that you need when you get here, you discard it. It's stuff. It becomes heavy. It weighs you down. And then it becomes a process of elimination. And you have to say to yourself, do I really need this? And for the most part, when it's on your back and your shoulders hurt, and you're starting out in your journey, you tell yourself, nope, it's not necessary. And so you leave it for somebody else who's going to need whatever it is that you're discarding. So that's kind of, for me, that's kind of the beauty of the Camino. But it's also a conversation with yourself. I couldn't part with everything all at once, only a few things. And then I would think about it as I walked, and I would say to myself, I don't need this either. And it was part of this process of getting rid of stuff. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense, and I think this is one of the great teachings of the Camino, and probably the first and the most immediate one that we have, is that what am I carrying? What am I putting into my backpack? And then this is really an invitation for our life, no? What is this life backpack that I'm carrying, and what is in here? What is weighing me down? What do I really need? What no longer serves me?
That's right.
And I imagine the other thing as I'm thinking about this is that if we need material things, we should probably go to Roncesvalles or or a few days after the Camino, because there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, actually, probably the best places to pick up are Orizon, Roncesvalles, the first couple of towns.
Absolutely. I think I remember going past the little post office years ago. I can't remember the name of the town, but a couple of towns after. And it's a tiny little post office, and it's so busy.
Oh, because everybody's
Because they're all
mailing stuff
sending their
back.
stuff.
So they can't give it away.
Yeah.
They say they can discard it. They can't quite give it away. So then they have to spend all those euros mailing it back.
Exactly.
And yeah,
It's part of the process.
it is part of the process.
So what are maybe three things that you have let go of that you thought you couldn't let go of, or you definitely needed?
So you're talking about the things that I discarded.
Both.
Okay.
Let's start with the things.
So I'm gonna be honest about this. I met a wonderful woman who was from Australia, and she saw my pack and she said, "I'll help you." We laid everything out. Okay,
Great.
everything, and so I had some medicines that, there were a couple of ounces, and she said, "Look, you can go to any pharmacy and you can buy these things. You don't need them. Get rid of them all." So I'm like, oh my God, my iodine and other things, what if I get blisters? But I just kind of let them go because I didn't have to carry them with me, and I knew I could replace them if I really needed to. So that's some of the medical supplies, and others were personal supplies. You don't need the shampoos and the conditioners and all of those things that you normally would have at home, but I was able to discard many of those things to the bare essence, and yeah, it's just fine. And believe it or not, my pack weighed a lot less getting rid of the things that I just described. So yeah, and some clothing too. You really have to keep it to the bare essentials. Anyway, you've probably heard this story before.
No, I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, also, I remember very clearly an image on my first Camino, which is like 10 years ago, when I was walking with my mum, of entering a place that we were staying, an albergue, where there was a washing machine and a guy's just standing there, not even really in a towel. It was kind of like a little longy with nothing else on, because everything he had, which was not
I
so much,
know.
is in the wash.
I did the
And
same thing. I put on my bathing suit and my towel. Everything else went in. Everything was essential and everything was dirty. So
yeah,
I had to have it. Hey, that's one of the great joys of the Camino is when you can have clean clothing.
absolutely. It's amazing,
And
isn't it?
it's a luxury that we don't always appreciate until you are here. We take these things for granted.
Absolutely, and I think also when you're having those moments of hand washing and taking your time to really be with this activity, being present to it, but also being grateful for the simplest things of like having clean clothes and just
Absolutely.
yeah,
I couldn't have said it better.
yeah. It's you know, I'm interested also, and now that I just sort of feel like this and these shells that are here at the moment, which are things that the shells that people have left behind. It's for a project here around, or an invitation inviting people to leave behind what no longer serves them as they go towards Fistero or Santiago and take their true shell. And so a bit in the theme of letting go and realizing what you didn't need. Is there anything not material that in this journey you've been able to see or feel like you would like to let go or is not serving you?
So it's interesting. I'm going to turn that around just a little bit and say that I'm on this journey more because I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for my life. I think I mentioned I was in an accident, and to breathe, and I so that's my number one. But in terms of discarding, it's not something that I learned on the Camino, but I'm grateful that I have the ability to discard things that don't serve me. And I call it to be able to discard anger and to embrace forgiveness. And I've been, those two words are a little symbiotic, but they don't serve me. The anger part. So that's why I can be grateful. I don't have that. Yeah, I'm not a perfect human being, but I don't carry. I honestly can say I don't carry that baggage. I don't feel this weight of something bringing me down. I just I want to feel the joy of this Camino, of the things that bring me up. And so my sort of philosophical underpinning is I see the glass always half full and not half empty, and that's maybe another illustration. So I don't want this to sound Pollyannish, but it's true. It's true to discard certain things that you need to. So I was a little hedgy on that, but I am not, yeah. So
That's cool. We can go with that.
We can go with
I
that.
mean, it's a couple of things that come up in listening to that. One is just, I guess, the power of attention, where we are putting our attention, and what we are focusing on is what we are creating more of. It's like I think there's a phrase somewhere around here. Anyway, somewhere that's saying where your energy flows or where your attention goes, energy flows.
Yes.
And where that energy flows is where nature is created.
Yes.
Like what is being manifested is coming from where the energy is.
That's right.
And so I think that's a powerful insight also, that
And it's
share is around, what are we bringing our attention to?
so when we had a meditation this afternoon, and we talk about
Was this afternoon?
it was this
Interesting.
afternoon. I can hardly remember what time it is.
Are we in the afternoon?
It's in the afternoon. But
Yeah.
it was about the power of love. And the power of love is also connected for me for being grateful. I keep coming back to that. But to understand love more fully is maybe what I could say that on this Camino, being more open to that power is something that actually I could be looking for more on this journey. And I didn't realize that until maybe this moment talking with you. But that is part of the journey. And I think that as I move on, I want more of that. That's
Beautiful.
what I want. But I didn't realize it until just this moment.
Well, good thing we sat down and had this interview.
We discover something every day about ourselves. And
Absolutely.
it's just a journey of growth. And so I stumbled upon you and this, and it's what I needed in this moment. So here we are.
Thank you for stopping,
You're welcome.
slowing down,
Yeah,
and being open to the experience.
yeah, absolutely.
We were waiting for you.
That's very kind. And yes, I didn't know it, but I have found, something in being here is special. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm curious around, also we're speaking about gratitude and love. Are there practical things that help you return to that intention or that state? And I'm interested because I think they're great things that we can learn from each other. Is like, how do we keep these things alive? How do I keep this present in my awareness? Are there things that help you in that?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question. And I think that the more I focus on other people and less of myself, it is a natural pathway for these graces to come into play. It's listening. It's paying attention. It's the little things, the needs of other people, and sometimes it's sad in that you know what's better for someone else, and you sacrifice what could be important to me. That's happened to me on the Camino. But it's okay, and I have to accept that I have chosen that because it's a good thing that you're thinking of someone else. But it's sad at the same time that I have to move on. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but as
Makes
long
sense
as
to me.
as long as you focus in on that other person, I think it helps me also. in some
Return to
ways.
yourself
I think so.
through the focus on others.
I think so. But the self-reflection and is so important for self. I always like to say that, when you're in an airplane and the plane might be going down, the first thing you do is you put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you put the mask on someone else to help someone else. But if you're not strong in your core and who you are and how you want to live, you can't offer that to anyone else. So,
And love yourself.
and love yourself. And that was part of your meditation. It's true to love yourself. And I think that's probably the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. Yeah. So your meditation resonated with me this morning more than you know. But
Well,
we have to remind ourselves of that.
of course.
We
Of
do.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't the idea when we walked into the room, into the shala, but that's what unfolded.
Yeah.
At the-
That
yeah.
moment.
Yes. I just had a blank. There was something you said before that I really wanted to.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, or maybe it won't, but I take it as a time to check that.
And you can edit this part out.
I think we will.
You made me cry. No, you know what? They're
Great.
tears of joy. You know, that it's tears of joy. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be alive, huh? And
It is.
an expression, a human expression, and to be with it. And
It is. To
It's a great
appreciate
gift.
it. It's a gift. And it's a gift. Yeah, I'm not saying that I realized that just because of the accident, but it was a little bit more pronounced, I think. And I sometimes wish that I could have been present more and more often in my life. And we get into this whirl of raising children, working, providing, and we're on this wheel. I call it the gerbil wheel. And you've got to stop, listen, appreciate, and savor those moments that you have. It could be a conversation with your children about what their dream was about. It could be listening to and being tuned in to what their feelings are as you are walking with your dog in the pathway in the park. And it's those moments that I remember most powerfully, but I have regrets that there weren't enough of those moments. And so, you know, you asked me earlier, you know, what things would I discard? Yeah, it's stuff, but it's being too much on that gerbil wheel, discarding that piece so you can allow all these other more important and tangible emotional opportunities of connection. That's more important than anything. So,
And I think this is something you alluded to also in your Camino, you know, about these interactions with other people and learnings about yourself, you know.
yes,
And the Camino can be a great teacher like
it
this.
can. And I made it my Camino.
Yeah.
I made it my Camino. And maybe in that selfish sort of way, what's important to me? And I think everyone needs to do that on their Camino. Think about what is important to you, and you move forward. I don't know, I just said that off the cuff here, but
Yeah, it's good. I think
it's good. My Camino wasn't always
creating-
my Camino. Sometimes I was doing more for others or thinking about what others wanted, and that's okay too. Life is a compromise. Then I started walking alone. And in walking alone, it allows you that opportunity to think and to reflect.
So I guess when I hear that, it's about coming back to one's intention. What is the intention of
Yeah.
this journey or of this day? and bringing that to our awareness, you know.
That's right.
And I'm curious as well. So how this Camino and how and if you have seen your conditioning in life, because something that becomes very clear for me in meeting thousands of people and observing people on their way is that we often walk as we live, yeah, and often as we are living, we are often working. Interestingly enough, so many times we bring these programs that we have in our daily life to the Camino. It's normal, it's natural. You alluded a bit to this way of relating with life and how you were with other people. How do you see this experience and the Camino as a possibility to self-reflect on those programs, on the conditioning, and being able to shift it? I mean, I understand like it's an active choice that you made from like walking with someone and trying to support someone and not looking after yourself to going into another moment and walking on your own, for example. Is that something that is a reflection of conditioning in life, in your world pre-Camino?
So, yes and no. I'm not afraid to be alone with myself. And I appreciate the time that I can be alone, reflect. But I also know that when I have these conversations on the Camino, I am brutally honest in who I am, except for my age. I'm over 50.
It was honest, no?
Yes, it is honest.
Just less transparent.
But I find that part of this Camino magic really is I just, I can connect with people when I have that I just, what you see is what you get. And I want that in return. And if I don't offer that, I won't get that in return. So it's, I've had some really meaningful conversations and met some extraordinary people who have said that within the first 5 minutes of a conversation, they knew we could have a conversation for 8 more hours and be just fine with it. It's really this magical thing that happens between people. Either the radar is receptive or it's not. And when it is, it's great. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And is this something that is always accessible to you in life? Like, do you feel like you've always been a brutally honest person?
No.
That you're able to connect? And so I'm
No.
interested why now in this moment and in this Camino, why is that more available to you?
That's a really good question. I have not always been honest, and no. When I speak, I'm honest. I have not always been forthcoming.
Yeah.
What's in my heart or in my mind, and I decided on this Camino that I'm going to change that about myself when I get home. I've just experienced it every day here. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do more of that when I get back in my normal environment, because it just opens so many more doors. So we all have our defense mechanisms. I have mine.
I have mine.
And you, okay. And when it comes to relationships, I've really just, I've put my arms at length, and it doesn't serve me to do that. I've decided on the Camino that So let's go back to answer your question. That what am I discarding? My defense mechanism and arm's length, because that does not open doors and it does not bring connection. So I'm going to discard that. I didn't think about that until just now. You caught me with two things. But you know, sometimes
And I'm happy for you.
you don't articulate this until
Yeah. That's why we do these interviews.
it's happening
These
now.
interviews are just an excuse.
Yeah.
Just like the bananas on the table. They're just an excuse to say hello.
So well, no, I mean, thank you. You're helping me sort through and think through more profoundly what I couldn't articulate earlier in this conversation.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I have another one for you.
Oh, you do? I said I was going to be honest, and I am. And what have you got for me? I'll learn something new about me when I'm answering this. So go for it.
Strike while it's hot, no?
Yep. Go for it.
No, so it's something that you've spoken to is returning home and taking some of these things that you're experiencing, that you're learning on the way, and bringing them into the next chapters of your life. Are there other things that are alive in you that you would like to bring into your life? And how do you think you can do that?
I need and want to bring more compassion to whatever I'm doing every single day and with other people. And I want that to carry through when I return home. It is there, but it's never enough. And to have that more freely, more openly, more spontaneously, that'll be very good for me.
How?
How will it be better?
No, like how do you feel that you can maintain your awareness to that, bring this more presently into your life? What do you think might help you in that?
I'm going to remember this experience. And I'm going to remember other experiences where I've had that great, on this Camino, that great gift of connection. I will remember that without going into detail. But I will cherish, I'll remember the feeling, the joy, the happiness, and those emotions have been strong, and there's nothing better than hearkening back to what is good, and that's how I'll keep it alive and have this journey continue even when I'm home.
Beautiful. I think it's such a big part of the journey, is the returning home.
Yeah.
The integrating of these experiences and taking time with it. And sometimes taking time with it before arriving, like even...
Yes. I didn't have much time to think about it before I arrived. But let me
No,
just...
I mean before arriving to Santiago or Fistera, like for example.
of course.
Like now in these days of, where, for example, here we're 120 kilometers, 125 kilometers from there.
Yes.
It can be a powerful moment to
Yes. And I guess I'll...
bring this to the awareness.
There, yes. I will bring this back full circle to my children who both experience the Camino. And, your kids love you, but they also know what your foibles and your deficiencies are, and they have both, in some regard, found a God more than I have, and they have encouraged me to go on this journey, and whatever the outcome is, they knew that somewhere along the line I would benefit from this experience. And I find it very powerful that it is my children who are the inspiration for me. And I'm thankful for that. So, yeah, that's, I, so, yes.
I'm thankful for them.
Yeah, I think we're all thankful for your children.
Yeah, I'm not the perfect mom, and they're not always the perfect kids, but you know what?
Guess
The
what?
priorities are set there in terms of the foundation is there, and that's to grow from that is really important. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You definitely did.
Yeah.
And one last question I'd like to ask you. In this, maybe it's in this experience or maybe it's just in life, what is God to you? If anything.
It's so hard. Gosh, I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, I am going to be a good person today and I'm going to be good to others. And that's kind of the extent that I've challenged myself. It's not in the gold or the Baroque and it's not in any of that. But it's the journey each day to just make each day be good. I can't say I've found God. I don't have this strong societal, organizational connection about God. I just don't. But I know if I continue my life in the way that I feel that I could, of being that good person and being good to others, then I'll that growth will happen for me. And it never, it will always be that way until I cease to exist. So that's sort of my definition of it. Yeah.
Thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome.
And finally, what would be your piece of advice to someone coming to the Camino? Aside from just go, without thinking too much, just like what you were saying
So
earlier, but is there something else you would
I would say,
suggest?
come with no expectations, appreciate all that comes into being while you're here, and experience joy, experience sadness, and journey on every day and just see what comes. Don't plan too much. Stop the hotel mania craziness that goes on Booking.com. It's not worth it. You will find a place, or a place will find you every day. Let it happen.
Yeah. Trust. Trust.
Trust. Stop the planning.
Yeah.
Stop the daily planning of Camino, of where you're going to sleep every night. That's my advice.
Sounds like good advice. Margaret, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much for your time and for
Absolutely.
your presence and for coming in
Well,
and sharing your journey with us.
you're a
It's a real
joy.
gift.
This place you've created is a joy. And I stumbled upon you, as I said earlier, and it's been good.
It is good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Muchas gracias for tuning in. Wisdomoftheway.com is where you can sign up for our newsletter for transformative walking retreats, courses, and free practices. Also, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends so that we can bring you more stories of these inspiring Caminos. Many blessings for your inner and outer journey.